These are all of the ways that I experimented with taking notes during a recent TED AI conference. I'm V. I'm on a journey to think with AI and not like AI. And one of the key skills to develop in this new age is the ability to learn and learn quickly. One of the best ways to learn is to actually capture notes, capture the information and the knowledge so that you can retrieve, recall, and hopefully embed it in your brain and your being later on. Now look, there are a million opinions, ways, and videos on what should be the best note-taking method. My conclusion after running the experiment, you have to find something that works for you in the context that you're in. So let's get into it. The number one way was analog. I took notes. This is my catch-all notebook. For the record, I am a notebook freak. I love writing stuff longhand analog. I am a big believer in long form writing. I believe it helps to make the information and the knowledge stick in my mind in the time that it takes to write, even though my handwriting is atrocious. Also, I have been challenging myself to be a little bit more visual in how I transcribe the information, not verbatim writing things down into a big text block, but emphasizing key points through so that when I rescan, things will jump out at me and I can recall them in a very specific way. Now, the one caveat to this method is, of course, that retrieval makes it a little bit harder. Everything is kind of separated out in its own instance, and so I have to make a special step to actually transfer the knowledge that I find relevant from the longhand version into some sort of digital platform. Speaking of digital, the second way I tried it out was sort of note-taking device. In this case, I used Notion. I opened up a database and created a page for each speaker. The cool thing about things like Notion is, of course, that you can add multimedia, you can add images to jog your memory, to be back in the moment, and of course, take notes. And by and large, it should be more searchable if they don't get buried into a graveyard of other notes that you don't use. But I'll make a separate video on that. Another way I tried taking notes was actually transcribing it into a recorder after the fact. I used a digital recorder, I used a WhisperFlow app on my phone, and basically once an event was done, or I could find some time, I would run outside, try to find a quiet spot, and repeat back to myself, literally teach myself again key points and takeaways. And this really forces you to distill what was important. Caveat here, again, is I may have missed some things, and also if there's a long time block before there's a break where I could record, there were definitely gaps. And the final way was my observation, because my colleague was actually using Plod Note Pen. Plod comes in a couple of different form factors. She used the pen and it was remarkable because once she turned the app on, it would actually transcribe in real time, capturing the audio in the room. Of course, it was a big auditorium. She could also add in her own notes and images and other assets at the same time. Is it worth getting another app and another bit of hardware? I don't know, because as far as I know, the notes cannot be directly transferred into Notion. It's a very cool way to make things a little bit more multimodal. So find the methods that work for you and know which to apply when.